UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon's Asian tour included stops in China, Vietnam, Thailand, and Cambodia. We caught up with Mr. Ban as he arrived in front of the UN pavilion at the Shanghai Expo. Once inside, he posed for pictures with his stand-in and was given a speedy tour of the exhibition hall before addressing the crowd.
This pavilion has enabled the United Nations to beautifully showcase its work to build a better world for all. This has been a landmark in the history of UN participation in a World Expo.
Next stop, a visit to the world's first meteorology pavilion. Then it was over to China's pavilion, where they used 3D-like technology to display chapters in their history. But over in South Korea's exhibit hall, Ban Ki-moon actually viewed the world through 3D glasses. This tower, outside North Korea's pavilion, was their first participation in a World Expo. The next day, we hopped aboard a high-speed train for an exclusive interview with Mr. Ban. As we sped towards Nanjing at nearly 200 miles per hour, the Secretary General talked about meeting with Myanmar's Prime Minister and his plea to hold free and fair elections there.
Yes, I have urged that it is not too late even now, that they should release all political prisoners, including Aung San Suu Kyi, to make this election more participatory and inclusive. It may be the case, even though they release prisoners, they may not be able to participate in actual voting, but that will improve the perceptions and image of election.
Ban Ki-moon also expressed his concerns about the recent cross-border exchange of fire between North and South Korea.
This recent shooting by North Koreans into South Korean side, it is again very worrisome. I understand the United Nations Command is now trying to investigate into this incident. I discussed this matter with the Chinese Foreign Minister Yang Jiechi in my meeting with him, and I asked the Chinese government to take more role in, first of all, bringing these six-party talks to a resumption.
Next up, Nanjing University, where Mr. Ban received an honorary degree, and then it was back to Shanghai for the spectacle of the closing ceremonies of the Expo. The glitter of the World Expo 2010 here in Shanghai has certainly served its purpose in drawing global attention to China's many positive achievements. But now that the Expo is closing, there will be little left behind to distract people from the fact that China is a country with many social and political challenges. The UN leaders' final hours in China included meetings with Premier Wen Jiabao and President Hu Jintao at the Great Hall of the People in the heart of Beijing. During UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon's visit here to Beijing, he talked with Chinese officials about climate change and other issues, but human rights was not on the agenda. Frank Ucciardo for CBS News, Beijing.